If you love Dr. Stone and want to see more of it covered, consider pledging on my Patreon linked below and vote more in. It also greatly helps to keep the channel going. Thanks so much. Nice to know that they're now at a point where they can teach this to people born in the New World. These two in the background playing a tree.
人類がやべえ文明作った200万年を一気に駆け上がってやるぜ。そうそうるぜ。これは
He actually does a legit good job of copying his voice, I must say.
千空、やつならもしかして光の謎も解けるんじゃねえか。
Essentially showing how they came to recruit people to their cause by explaining what happened in the past and what they're trying to do to fix the future.
の紙吹雪100億%いらねえわ。まあまあ、千空ちゃん。
He only went and said the thing!
俺の発表は最後の方がいいぜ。なんせ俺の船はもうすでに完成してっからよ。
Unexpected and serious looking art style change.
あ、ダメだな。未開の人笑っちゃ。
Him laughing to himself at the notion of whatever the mind of Magma could come up with ends up being insanely legit instead. Credit to the animators for going ahead and packing this scene with characters and then beautifully detailing them all, even animating a few too. The raft he was planning to unveil to take halfway around the world.
この船も作り始められる。
His own ship design, which blows theirs out of the water, no pun intended, and legit got me hyped up seeing an old school looking pirate ship of sorts.
途中でわし寿命で死んじゃうし、かわいそすぎる。
I ain't ever gonna stop giving this legend a win. He's so old now, but still going strong, and I for one absolutely love to see it. Loved his work since he did Old Man Rom in ReZero years back. Animating most of this quick montage, but also making it look realistic, as obviously building something of this size would require a huge plot of land, near the water, and so on.
こんなにすごい船ができちゃったら地球の裏側なんて余裕なんじゃない?
Credit to the music as well. It's still from the other seasons, but I really enjoy it, and it fits the vibe and tone of the show as a whole perfectly, I think.
お望みの子を見つけてあげる。
船長が欲しい。
I like how he also uses his brain to figure out who will be the best fit for certain roles, even a former enemy like her, and in the process, gives her a new purpose too by helping them. Also though, not to be forgotten, kawaii!
見えたぞ、あの島だ。
待ってろよ船長。
I don't normally do this, but take one for Saitama being in the anime. All these years later, I'm still such a big fan of his. Same with Subaru from ReZero, season 3 hype by the way!
全員起こすのか?
いや、復活駅が残り少ねえ。大村に奇跡の洞窟ぶち壊されたからな。
Credit to the mangaka for coming up with a good way to not have them be able to just revive everyone easily. Also credit for making their reactions look so different depending on how they were feeling at the moment it happened and what they were doing.
普通のレベルのまともなのを取るか、腕は超一流のヤバいのを取るか。
I love that, as they're essentially discussing if it might be best to get him, but he's also got this flaw, but on the other hand, he's just over there going with him anyway. Style-wise, that gets a win. It looked so awesome how they did that, and a smooth rotating shot just prior as well. You Ishigami from Love is War! One of those OPs that's so good it needs max wins. A great song from start to finish, and the visuals were breathtaking. Tons of clear effort poured into that. Easy choice.
当たるぜ、船乗りの勘は。文明は滅び、ご理解速攻で実に終わりがて。
It's pretty cool how quickly he looks around and puts two and two together, figuring out his situation faster than most do.
美女3人寝起きで数も数えらんねえのか？2人だぞ。
That was hands down one of the best jokes in the entire anime to date.
つまり間もなく春の嵐メイストームが来るぜ
This dude is as impressive with things to do with sailing as Senku is with anything to do with inventions.
暴力はなんだ貴様らが炉に使ってる低品質の石炭か俺らはついに資源の王様石油を掘り出す
This anime totally has an element that it turns out I enjoy so much. It's the whole inventions aspect. Same as in Bookwork with Mine, and recently Mao Mao in the Apothecary Diaries.
相良油田っつってな採算の問題で掘るのやめてただけで未だに湧いてんだ
Another thing I totally love is how this is a real place, and it legit looks like that too. So much time and effort clearly goes into making this new world feel familiar in a sense.
貴様らは俺から石油を買うんだよ
This dude finding out a way to get rich quick already in this new world in like a day or so.
この石だらけの世界にこれだけの科学技術をもたらしたやつなら必ず油田を見つけ出す
Dropping a win here, and purely because it really reminded me of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and that's a win where I come from. The whole scene is nicely done, him hearing a waterfall, her leaping up there and spotting it, and they're running through the forest towards it.
ナイアガラの滝みたいな大爆破
Brilliant to include this, how the world has massively changed during all those years. Such a stupidly good looking visual.
鳥に乗って見れたらよかったんだよ。
それだ朝だ朝が欲しい
So damn good how he's gonna build something that flies or most likely floats, and I for one am absolutely here for it.
だからせっかくのドラゴンを紙くずにしない方法教えてあげちゃう
What a great combination of creepy visuals with equally creepy voice acting right there.
気球だ科学のお宝探検隊は
We're totally building some hot air loons, let's go!
今までで一番ダントツで道のり長そうね短
This legit made me laugh out loud when I saw it. So good.
こんなとこに空前にも手芸部がいんじゃねえか
Well now, that was insanely adorable, wasn't it?
もちろんです。
As adorable as the last one was, this one was totally full of coolness. Well, that was a totally fun new segment, wasn't it? I don't even care they can have another one for the next episode taking place 30 seconds after the first one. I just love to learn.
おーできたぞ
I love it. She thinks she's getting some simple little thing and he builds her this instead. That adorable reaction though.
せっかくだからどうだい？
ニッキーちゃん乙女やな。
Such a sweet moment. Magma kind of treated her like she wasn't a woman, and then we see this side to her later on. It was cute. I liked it.
ててエレガントさをプラス
昨日手と足が一緒に出てんぞ
Really took a lot less time for fashion to return to society than I thought. Had to give my boy one for looking proper dapper there.
金に糸目つけねえ物欲のゴンゲが一人いんだろうが
俺自身の首を絞めてないか
That's so good, using his own plan against him. I tell you, this special episode is great for laughs.
何空飛びませんやべえ
おいクロ
I'm weird. I love that they have a base set up away from the main base like this. I really do appreciate how he does legit math to figure out exactly what he needs to make it work.
だけど気球ってちょびっと怖いな
なら俺が代わってやってもいいぞ
血まで
They're killing him with the jokes, but it's also smart how he uses his head to trick him into doing the work but doing it for free. Really happy he gets to go. I remember fondly from the first season how he lives for this stuff and learning new things all the time. It's only just. The first time they get the hot air loon in the air.
すごいの人って欲張りで諦めないんだもの。
Ah, that nearly brought a tear to my eye, to be honest. People are responsible for some horrible stuff, but we also do create some truly wonderful things too. Honestly, that was perfection, from his reaction to the music to, of course, the gorgeous looking view from up there. Stunning.
くっそもっと見てこの世界の全部が知りてえ。
Go ahead and take a follow-up win for that profound reaction as well.
石神村。
なにあんなにみんなで苦労しまくって往復した距離をよ。やべえな空の旅。
For context, he says, but that's a 2-day trip by foot if you really book it. And this is the reply. Just makes you understand how insane flying really is speed-wise. Take one here too for telling me things I didn't know about Japan, such as the direction the wind blows and how they're using the wind's own weird system to travel in the opposite direction. I bet if you're a fan of the channel and had watched this at the time, you were thinking, Anime Winter's gonna love this. Really good CGI! I just noticed and thought it was really clever how the outside has meats on it, other foodstuffs and tools and that, I think, which of course would be needed for a longest journey.
クロム、やるな貴様。そうと決まれば残りの燃料を全部。
I thought it was a nice touch to have Chrome come up with the best way to save themselves here, rather than it always being down to Senku. 2 wins here. Firstly, him getting his hat back in such an epic style after using it to gauge the wind flow. But also how they managed to make a hot loon ride genuinely frantic and amazing. Going without an ED this episode to make it even longer. Have a final win here for this extra long episode, well worth it. I very much enjoyed it and I loved the notion of how much smaller these inventions make the world. Nicely done.
見事だ。
Good choice to start episode 1 proper right where the special left off. You know what? I'm not going to delete an earlier win, and just because of the positive feeling it gave me, but I did get it wrong. This is no outpost, it's their first village. I forgot! Doi! Being clever and using this as a very short recap of sorts. Man, it made me a little emotional seeing their beautiful looking village for the first time in ages.
司を皮切りに世界中の人類を復活させるというわけだな。
Great reminder! I totally forgot about the goal to petrify him again. This is huge and fantastic. I'm hyped. Another easy max wins. I liked it even more than the last, to be honest. Better visuals, better music, and to tip the scale the most, so many awesome story events and new characters teased. Totally forgot about this new intro song that plays. Always reminds me of the Lord of the Dance music from when I was a kid.
感謝するぜ。美女たちのもてなしに。
やだ美女だってよ私ら
Kicking off the episode with some genuinely good laughs. They really have gotten better as the series has continued. I wasn't getting a win until the grilled fish dessert and then grilled fish something and his reaction. Also, if you're a fan of the channel for a while, you'll of course know that scenes like this of everyone being gathered together and sharing a meal and stories always gets a win.
おおそうだぞ琥珀の視力頼みなんだからよ。おお杉林だな。素材用に任しとけ。ルートもわかるぜあそこなら。
There really is something about the old school tech and their working together mixed with the gorgeous visuals that hypes me up way more than it normally would. Going all Minecrafty all of a sudden.
なかなか楽しくなってきたなクロムに相談しつつ鉱山も探すか
A most adorable little happy dance. Loved how they did the CGI animation. Really good stuff. Easy follow-up win, a short, mostly animated montage. They found food and we got another bit of nice CGI animation again.
こんなものがあればこの先誰も飢えて死んだりせずに済むかもしれないね
だが不良の年に大勢が亡くなったのだ。
Quite the touching moment all of a sudden as we drop the humour for a second and things get more real and down to earth.
世界一欲張りな男だからな。この空から種を見つけ出す。始めるぞ、先駆。
Important win there as well as the future is laid out, the need to multiply, to find new ways to gather food for people to grow, unlike what happened to the village. Felt good. Not running on the spot across a beach.
こっから先は食料を育てて作り出すんだよ。人類の手でな。
It's so weird that an anime can make me feel so hyped for such small things like finding wheat, but it's knowing what they can do with it that makes it awesome to me.
ブリオッシュ。
なんだそれは。必殺技の名前か。ブリオッシュ。
Just had to give one for that.
むやみに人増やすわけにはいかないんだよ。食料が足りなくなるからね。
For clarity, Magma says, why don't we just wake them all up and put them to work? And she replies with this, which I thought was a great logical point to be made. I love how he can manipulate people into actually doing the work they should be doing like here, but best of all is the super over-the-top faces and reactions.
これうちの親父。俺の両親は小さい頃に亡くなった。だからみんなの家族だけは必ず救う。
It's so sweet when you find out that he's basically pushing himself to work so hard to create the food needed to bring these people back for their children, essentially. Oh my god, I'm such a fan of how it's done with the world changing due to the actions of these dedicated humans. It's so green now. I like that. He really is deserving of that role, assuming that it means he's now being made leader of the food, which was mentioned before.
やるじゃねえか、食料。
Ah, and there's your confirmation. Take that win as an extra. I love it.
特攻で石化の謎を解いて全人類を復活させる。そそるぜ、これは。
What a brilliant moment. I really do love how it's all handled with a big goal in mind, then broken down into smaller steps that need to be done, all building to that big thing. Pretty simple ED really. A nice enough song, decent enough visuals, easy win.
ストーンワールド初の石窯のパンダ。
ザリザリの食感がめっぽう楽しいな。
このパンじゃ全員くたばる。違うか。
Only they, from the past, understand just how terrible a job they've done. Meanwhile, they love it.
プロのシェフを叩き起こす。ハモったね。
That they did. Plus, as I mentioned before, it adds another step to the process before they can make their trip. Forgot how great looking these bits are at the end, totally fitting the vibe of the show.
隠し持っている悪い奴の心当たりがなくもない。悪い奴はてめえだろ、どう見てもよ。
How come the jokes are so good in this season though? Damn, those visuals are next level. Doesn't matter how you slice it, that was a heck of an entrance, baby.
心配するな。
心配。残念ですが、私ごときが心配などしようとしまいと状況は変化しません。
This anime is basically full of real characters. Not in the literal sense, but like, hey, he's a character kind of sense, and she absolutely is building on that already.
失礼、流水様皆様。まずはパンの完成品を拝見します。
Just like Usopp does it for One Piece, Chrome does the same here, bringing that comedy to the anime.
これはすごい、ヤギのバターだ。
I've never had it before, but how they make it look is actually really quite tasty looking. How are you going to show up with near photorealistic looking fruits like it's no big deal?
水蒸気のが空気よりはるかにエネルギー伝達の密度が高え。
この新世界を制するため石神千空、彼が絶対に欲しい。
It's always an awesome feeling when people come to see how insanely talented Senku is, as she just saw it here.
やべえ、なんだこのパン。 地球の裏まで保存が効いて超絶うまい。
That reaction! Those reactions, really. Plus they made the bread look just like I remember it, as I used to eat it a lot as a half German during my youth. It looked so good in the close-up shot, I decided to drop an extra win here. Your boy is over here writing a win script and casually learning how bread is made. Let's go!
主だと別れてからどんだけ時間あったと思ってるの？職人なめちゃダメよ。
ダブルピストンで坂も登れるようになった。スチームゴリラ 2!
The old man totally went and built a car whilst he was bored waiting for more things to do. That right there is one of the best mixtures of CGI and hand animation I've ever seen. It's pretty much flawless how they move in the seat of the thing. He looks like he stepped out of the manga pages of JoJo or something.
ダゲレオタイプ。人類史上最古のカメラだ。
That is just awesome, really. I remember reading about the first camera years ago too, so it was a blast from the past hearing the name being mentioned. Very sweet once again to see the moment from her childhood which meant so much to her, and now she's being reminded of that.
いや、プリズム入ってっからな。反転もしねえ。
I'm not one for references, but I know that's a Queen one, and I'm gonna go with JoJo Part 4 on that one and likely be way off base. Adored seeing the photos taken of the beautiful landscape.
知らないかも。世界一有名な科学者のポーズ。
Thankfully, that is one reference I very much did get when she said the most famous scientist pose before. Putting it into context what they're doing and how it works far better than just using your eyes at the time from the air.
それじゃあ確認よろ。
おや任せとけ。
Right there, we get to see how in real life this would work. It would be far from a waste of time. People working from the air, people looking over photos, and guiding a crew on the ground. Getting to witness how the camera's reinvention was super useful for other things, such as finding different foods that'll help for wintertime survival.
そうだな、トリュフかキャビアかフォアグラか。
いやいや、全部リームだから。
On the surface, you might be thinking, oh, that's a bit silly, he's going to open the restaurant. But then you get Senku telling us that you can't keep pushing people. They need good food, and it works. The sound effects they used for this girl sounded like a video game. Super win. Photorealistic bread as well? Are you mad? It's our first fully animated montage. Let's go.
見つけたぞ。黒い宝石。
地表に染み出た黒い宝石。値千金の大発見じゃねえか。
I'm actually giving a win here for her not finding truffles and instead accidentally coming across the oil they've been searching for. I mean, finding truffles via those photos would be insane. A most adorable little boar.
トリュフの香りはイノシシの愛のフェロモンと成分が同じ。
I googled this and it's actually true. Wow, I never knew why they can search them out. What a good pupster!
この広さの森から水たまり探しだからね。ヒントが少なすぎる。
A scenery shot so stunningly good looking that I'm forced to show it first and then talk over it. Easy win for finding the oil and learning how they found it in our world over 100 years ago. Great stuff.
でもフランソワが料理しちゃうんだよこの後は。
食うべきか、そこのイノシシ。
いえ、油臭くて不向きですね。染みついてしまっております。
Really glad I get to give a win here for this. Would have been very unsettling for the boar to have helped so much and yet they still kill it and eat it. Glad that's not the case. And of course, being nice to animals is always a win.
なんだ惚れ薬か。好きな子でもできたのか、センク。
お フェロモン放出を極度に活性化するいわゆる惚れさせ薬ガソリンだありゃ。
何？そうだったのか？
That's great. Firstly, to reference something from the very first episode, but also to let us know finally what was in that liquid he gave to him.
GPS を作る。
I mean, this is getting incredible. Riding around on an oil-powered motorboat at the same time he's talking about making a GPS. I'm floored. Another big obstacle passed.
ルリチュワン
Is that not something Sanji always says in One Piece in regards to the ladies?
なんだかみんなが
自然現象じゃない。明らかに意図的に僕らと同じ周波数に被せてきてる。
Like, it was so nice. She's gonna maybe say she likes him. Suddenly the signal is interrupted and he says someone is doing it. My god, that's awesome.
ずーっと同じ信号を繰り返してんだけど W かな HWHY
I don't even care, that's getting a follow-up win. That is brilliant. Someone is putting out Y over Morse code constantly.
Y なぜ
Making it super creepy was a great direction to take it, I think. Great art style change at the end there too.
てめえか人類石化の黒幕は。
Even if it turns out not to be the case, the fact that he even asked it hypes me up to levels not seen before.
それじゃねえか。
One more for that most epic of endings to the episode. This awesome view from bottom to top showing where some people live and where the HQ is and all the techie tech stuff too.
ごちそうにいやクロムは微妙なところか
That.
頭は良いのだが性格的にちょろいからなそういうとこだぞ
And, not to be forgotten, this too.
3700年間生き続けているはずもないからな。あるいは自分もろとも石化させていたか。
A great point is made there, but a creepy one too. That there's no way someone who did that could be alive 3,700 years later, but did they maybe do the same thing to themselves? It's so good. Wow, that reveal came and went like it's no big deal, but it means there had to be someone there, because when Senku sent his own message, the Y message stopped. Ah, let's go!
おお、そういや拾ってたな、そんなの。
蛍光塗料だ。
あとはいつもの作業ね。
I must say it's a nice touch to keep going back to earlier seasons and mentioning those, like the things they gathered back then, which now have different uses like here.
正確なスピードで左から右に上から下にこれで画面全体に絵映すっつうのがブラウン管テレビだな。
The best thing about the invention side of things is that, yes, of course, I wouldn't be able to make it, but the show makes you feel like you could, giving us a better understanding of how they work. I won't fib, this did get more complicated for old high school dropout boy over here, but again, as in the previous win, I do understand it more now. That's really sick.
レーダーか。
Oh my god, that's what it is! It was staring me in the face the whole time as well. Seeing an unseen enemy. It's so good it's gotta be stopped!
魚群探知機にもなるんだよ
Prime example here of how they don't just find a resource for one thing, create an invention for one thing, to be seen once and then never again. Already another use for sonar. 2 wins. Firstly, I liked the handheld camera type effect being used during the conversation, makes animation easier and looks good at the same time. Secondly, it's because he's right, a threat like that totally doesn't work on someone like Senku, and I really love that about him, it just drives him more instead. People being able to now eat truly great food, and also that well-drawn and full-looking crowd of people.
そろそろもうないんだよさ
I'm issuing out the blonde lady a win, and purely for science.
楽しそうにどっか出かけちゃったんだよやべえいけるぜこれとか言って
2 wins again. Firstly her, quite frankly, hilarious impression of what he did at the time. And also giving him moments to be smart, so it's not just always Senku, as obviously originally he was the guy coming up with stuff before Senku woke up.
鉄鉱石の交渉だ。
The fact that he did it, but also that scream, his voice actor seriously doesn't mess about, does he? Brilliant how we're then shown how much industry goes into their efforts, placing lighting inside, cutting in a walkway, and of course whatever they're doing in the middle too.
やべえ、面白い。
For context, she says don't give him too much praise, he'll have an ego basically, and he says it's more about how happy he is that the science worked and how fun it was. Super wholesome.
周りは山、それに海も越えなければならないぞ。
超絶ド派手な物流網を作る。
I love it. All the problems humanity faced over the years and he's using science to solve those old problems. It's just so awesome to watch him do it too.
ねえ、舗装道路来ちゃった。
Oh hell yes, that's what I'm talking about. The iron is too heavy, the distance is too far. Okay, use a car. The way is too bumpy. Boom, paved roads. Now I have found out how to create roads and everything. I just told my wife and she was shocked that it's 90% gravel. I'm learning so much. That's it for this one, ladies and gents. Subscribe to not miss the next half, or if you want to vote in the next season, consider pledging to my Patreon, link down below. See you next time. Darth Weirdo, Fiji, Nick Wyndham, The Elementator Wars, Christopher Willis, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Fancy Turtle, Kepan, Mini Masher, Marquez, Nozomi, Orkeeper, Otar Bananisi, Steelers, The Epic Commander, Bird Without a Word, Brandon Kriya, Brian Bayard, Cameron, Christian Tavasa, Commander Cyrus, David Mayer Olmos, Doggos for Life, Dragonstorm 35, Aaron Winters, Guru, James Tafoya, Jor Edvinson, Kevin Halston, Comfroy, Kylie Welp, Luis Benito, Mr. Mansu, Nightly Winter, Peter Milligan, Ruby Rose, Satoko Yari, Zionx 44, Sean, Starkip, The 100s, Tiger Lily Warrior, A Joker, Alexander Schwartz, Ali 50, Amadillo, Brainless Ben, Cecilia, Cedric, Cloud Garden, Dante Soul, Dante's Face, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Devon, Dragon Defender, Iso, Francie, Garrett Vermeesh, Gibbs, Hoth Lowe's Ritter, Hunter Miranda, Isel Caldera, Jason Davies, John, Jaffa 6263, Kai Wolfspring, Kelnock, Kevin Nelter, Kevin 102, Knuckle Duster, Kai 158, Kyle Jones, Laxor, Laxus, Liam Gugati, Lifty, Lionel Schultz, Marvin, Matthew Blansett, Michael Lewis, Motivirum, Moudini, Mr. Fire Cool, Nathaniel Gregomosa, Natsu Dragneel, Nick Monaco, Nick Pell, Novagown, 1928, Ollie the Mighty, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Oscar I. Lopez, Owen Halloran, Q-Flash, Chris Harris, Ryan DeVeries, Psychomi Aorum, Sarcastic Truth, Snowy, Stan, Storm 970, TRS, Thrasher 340, Will Sass, Willy Man.